Why do they never go in for me? Hi VC, I'm back again. Yes, and it's with another vinyl Wodge. The other day I answered a Facebook marketplace ad, and this guy advertised 135 records for 50 quid. So I thought, oh, I'll have a look. I answered the ad and he said, well, why don't you come over now and have a look? So I went over there and he was a very nice chap. Made me a cup of tea while I flicked through the records. Unfortunately, a lot of the records were either scratched to bits or really quite charity shop fodder. And I wasn't going to touch most of them with a barge pole. So I said I wasn't going to take them for 50 quid. And he said, well, pick through what you want. Pick out what you want, and then we can come to an arrangement. So in the end, I pulled out 15 records that I was more than happy to give a home to, and paid 20 quid, and I was quite happy. From what I've got here, I was really quite happy with what I got. So here's the pile. There we go. I'm just gonna put these in. I forgot to put these in any kind of order, and I'm gonna put that there. Oh, I should have done this before, shouldn't I? I'm just pulling out some of it. Right, that one there. We'll do that one last. Right, okay. Yes, I'm ready now. Right, so first off, I got a 10-inch single. And I was very happy to see this. This is the Catherine Wheel, who were one of those British shoegaze bands. They were one of the heaviest shoegaze bands. I mean, they bordered on real rock at times. Pretty sure that the lead singer, I've forgotten his name, but he is Rob Dickinson, and I think he's is he his nephew? I think. Anyway, I don't know. Something like that. He's a member of the Dickinson family. Anyway, that Dickinson. And this is I think this is quite late in their career, released in '95. So I think they went on to about '97, I think. But way down. It's a decent enough single. And then it's got radio sessions of Crank, which was one of their better singles from earlier on, and Wish You Were Here, which is a Pink Floyd cover, and it's not bad. It's okay, it's not bad. So, but that was a nice one to start with. Got a couple of 12-inch singles. One of the greatest cover versions of all time. I just adore this. So I picked up the 12-inch of Sinead's Nothing Compares to You. What else can I say about this? It is just a phenomenal song. On the B-side, it's got vocal and instrumental versions of Jump in the River, which was from her first album, Lion and the Cobra, which is a great listen. Absolutely terrific listen, that is. So I was well chuffed to pick that up. This one was a kind of blind, no, not completely blind, because I knew who this artist was, but I had no idea what this song sounded like, and it is phenomenal. This is Coldcut. This is a 12-inch, and this is Walk a Mile in My Shoes, featuring Robert Owens. I don't know who Robert Owens is, but I know Coldcut are. They are a dance duo, have been around since, the early 90s? Unfortunately, they're the people who first introduced us to Lisa Stansfield and Yaz, but, well, can't have everything. They also released probably one of the greatest remixes in history, which was the 7 Minutes of Madness mix of Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim, which is just an amazing, amazing, amazing record. I've only got the 7-inch, but I've heard this 12, but that's on my wish list of 12. But this is a really good 12-inch. There's 3 mixes of it. And the choice mix is on the B-side. It is the Henrik Schwartz mix, which is nearly 9.5 minutes long, but it is great. And it was really weird seeing 2006 vinyl in that hoard, because the rest of it was much older. There's a few dance things. I probably should have picked up some of the dance things as well, but I didn't recognise any of it, and I don't know. But this is brilliant. Right, now the rest of it is a real mixed bag of stuff. So we've got all kinds of stuff here, but I've played all of them and we've thoroughly enjoyed all of them. This one was great. The vocal Fats Waller, recorded in the 30s. I think I've settled in on jazz played with piano as the main instrument, and it seems to be my favourite kind of jazz at the moment. I'm really digging it at the minute. But this is terrific stuff, absolutely terrific. What's on here? It's got Ain't Misbehaving on it. Things like The Joint Is Jumping. I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. I'm not familiar with a lot of the songs, but it's just great, a great listen from start to finish. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm going to try and leave the compilations till later, because there's a few compilations that I picked up. Right, okay. Right, now this band, I recognise some of the names on this. This is HSAS, which is short for Hager, Sean, Aronson and Shreve. So this was I don't know, Neil Schon seemed to be taking a break from Journey. Sean, I don't know how you pronounce his surname. Somebody correct me if I'm making a pig's ear of it. And he formed a band with Sammy Hagar, and they got a couple of other people in. Kind of a journeyman bass player, which is I've forgotten his first name, Aronson, and the drummer. I really wish I could remember their names. I don't know these people. Here we go. Michael Shreve on drums, who's played with a lot of people. I think he played with Santana. I think that's right. And Kenny Aronson, who's played with a lot of different people. This is, I mean, it's got it should be appalling. It should be absolutely terrible, but it's actually pretty good. It's all bluster, and there's not much finesse on it, to be honest, but it's a laugh to listen to. It's a great listen. Recorded live on the tour that this lot did. I presume it was their only tour, because it's their only album. And they interestingly enough, they edited out a lot of the audience sounds. So I don't know why they did that, because they left it in on some of the tracks. I suppose they couldn't get rid of it. But this was a very enjoyable listen. It's got that kind of live sound to it. That kind of, obviously they're playing some kind of big arena. And yeah, there's some interesting stuff on here. I mean, they go try some more atmospheric stuff like Valley of the Kings and Giza. They do a not so successful version of White Shed of Pale, which I think is pretty awful actually. But the rest of the album is pretty good. I enjoyed that. Also picked, I loved this. I thought this was really good. Barclay James Harvest 12. They've sort of abandoned their early 70s prog leanings. They're going definitely for FM radio on this. So the songs are shorter, they're much more succinct. Came with the insert as well. Not in best of shapes, but it's definitely listenable. And I really enjoyed listening to this. I've played it 2 or 3 times actually. They've got some folky stuff on here. They've got a piano ballad called Berlin. What else is on here? There's a really good pro unions, trade unions song called The Closed Shop, which is really good. They've got all kinds of stuff. I think it was loosely meant to be a concept album, because they've got based on genres of literature, because they've got some tracks have got the subtitle fantasy, fact, science fiction. Streets of San Francisco was the last track, and that's pretty good as well. So I was really chuffed getting that. That's not coming next. Then I'll do these four. Okay. Also, I got. What should I do? Let's do the sound compilations next. I got a soundtrack album. This was a hoot to listen to. Well, some of it was. I picked up a copy of the Rocky IV soundtrack. I'm really happy I got this because not only does it have Burning Heart on it, but it's also got Eye of the Tiger on it. So there you go. I don't need any other Rocky album now. It's also got Living in America by James Brown, which is a great 80s single from the Godfather of Soul. Really terrific. There's a beat. There's the back of it. What else is on here? There's a fairly mediocre track by Go West, and then the usual batch of unknowns. John Cafferty doing Hearts on Fire is not bad. There's a fairly forgettable duet between Kenny Loggins and Gladys Knight. But it's worth it just for the Survivor tracks, to be honest, and the James Brown track, which I don't have anywhere else, so that was worth getting. This is great. Motown Extra Special. Just superb throughout. I mean, they were releasing... in the early 70s, they seemed to be releasing compilations left, right and centre, Motown. I presume to try and get some extra cash because the compilations are cheap to put together. But it's got a great track list. You've got Baby Love, Ball of Confusion by the Temptations, River Deep Mountain High by the Supremes and Four Tops, which is a good version actually. I'll Be There by the Jackson 5. The Look of Love by Gladys Knight. Reach Out, I'll Be There, which is great. ABC by the Jackson 5. Lots of Dinah Ross and Supremes and Temptations in various, and the Four Tops doing that. Cloud 9 by the Temptations. You Keep Me Hanging's on here, and there's a couple of Junior Walker and the All Stars tracks, which are top notch as well. So that's a great compilation. Couple of charity compilations I've managed to pull out. This one is Live for Ireland, and it's got a really good track list. You know, the artists on here are really good. You've got there's U2 doing Maggie's Farm. Well, some of you like U2, some of you don't. With what else does he put in there? Old MacDonald's Got Farm makes an appearance, and there's another song that he does in there as well. You've got Elvis Costello doing Many Rivers to Cross, which is a good version. You've got the Pogues doing a live version of Dirty Old Town. Clannad doing a live version of Harry's Game. Boomtown Rats doing Looking After Number 1. Van Morrison. Thin Lizzy without Phil Lynott. This concert took place 4 months after Phil Lynott died. They managed to play as part of this, which was in aid of self-aid. It was in aid of getting unemployed Irish people back into work. But then it's Gary Moore does the vocals on a version of Don't Believe a Word, and it's really good. Chris Rea. So it's all in all, I mean, it's a great album. It's a really good album. All live tracks. Here we go. What's he in this sleeve? Oh, it's just a bog standard dinner. Oh, there is. I didn't realise this. It's got the insert. So there's some information about it. I haven't actually read that. I didn't realise that was in there. So it tells you all about the Self-Aid Trust. Well, there you go. Right, and then we also got, this was in tribute to help, I think it's not Save the Children, UNICEF Children's Fund, I think. What does it say? Save the Children Fund. This is Feed the Folk, and it's got a really good track list. There's some really good songs on here. You got people like Kate Nana McGarrigle, Loud and Rainwright the Third. You got Chieftains, Martin Carthy. Well, you can see them. You can see there. And it's got Billy Connolly actually doing a song. Not the greatest song, but he's doing a song. I guess the most interesting song that I hadn't heard before, or band before, was the Roaches, which was really interesting, mixing folk and kind of new wave sounds, and very interesting vocal arrangements on that track. Definitely going to have to just try and see if I can dig some of them out. Airport Convention's on here. Billy Bragg doing The World Turned Upside Down from, I think that's from the Between the Wars EP. The one about the Diggers, which is a great political song. So that was Feed the Folk. That's a really good listen. I remember this one knocking around every record shop I visited in the late 80s, from about 88, 89, 90. Always a copy of this in there. Never picked it up before, but I got it now. So this is A Head Full of Steam. This is a sampler on... not sure what label. Parlophone. It's a Parlophone sampler. So some bands on Food, some bands it's not all directly on Parlophone, but it might even be Food, because I know there's. So you got people like Crazy Head, my beloved Crazy Head. I've got to do a video on them sometime. Mark Ullman's on here. Diesel Park West. Goodbye, Mr. Mackenzie. Bliss, band called Bliss, who do one of the best tracks on the album, actually. They're probably the better known tracks. Ziki Manika. So yeah, decent enough compilation. Decent enough. Oh, New Model Army are on it as well. And anything with New Model Army, just infinitely better. So that's a good one. There we go. And there's a back. Brilliant. I loved this when I listened to it. I picked up the Best of Jerry Reed. I knew now that I couldn't tell from this picture, but yeah, I've seen him on loads of stuff as an actor. So it's like things like Smokey and the Bandit and stuff like that. I didn't realise he was a really accomplished country musician as well. Recorded lots of stuff with Chet Atkins. I mean, the guitar work on this is great. And the song Amos Moses, I absolutely think is brilliant. Terrific stuff. There's some Tupelo, Mississippi Flash, Guitar Man. Guitar Man, it's interesting reading about that, because that is the original of the Elvis song that he did. And apparently Jerry Reed played on the Elvis version because Elvis couldn't get the right sound, and he just wanted the original guy who did it. So I love this. This is great. I'm going to have to look out for more Jerry Reed, because I think it might be worth investigating his stuff. I've got all this already, and I'm not sure which version is better. But I picked up another copy of Big Country, The Crossing. I was thinking of maybe doing a mix and match if the record was better, but the label and the outside cover match. So this one's blue and my other one's green, so I can't really... They're both about the same, so I've got to decide which one I'm going to keep now. This is a great album. Bagpipe guitars, ahoy. Really good stuff. I mean, the singles were in a Big Country, Chance and Fields of Fire. But things like The Storm is a cracking track. Porra Man is a good track. Lost Patrol. It's a really good album. The Inner. There's a band on the back. Stuart Adamson, sadly not with us anymore. But that's a cracking listen. If you've never heard that, because you can pick it up, I think, fairly easily, this album. Really enjoyed listening to that again. I also picked up this, and I showed this on the Facebook channel, Apollonia, who played Rain in Purple Rain, the film, with Prince. Now, this is a completely Prince-free record. In fact, it's more based upon the lines of Taylor Dane and what's her name? Paula Abdul. That's it. But it's really good. Late 80s, that kind of 80s female pop. Very sort of its time, I would say. Very of its time. But I thoroughly enjoyed listening to this. She's never really got any success. I think this was her only album release. And what I loved about this was, so the inner sleeve has got a picture of her smoking, and then there's a warning. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. But it says, warning, the Surgeon General has determined that cigarette smoking is dangerous to your health. So there's a warning on even pictures of people smoking, just in case it encourages little kids to take up the filthy habit. Which is fair enough, I guess. So that was a decent pickup. Promo copy with a sticker. And then finally, this was the thing I first saw, and I thought, right, I'm going to take what I can. And I picked up a copy of Deep Purple in live concert with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. I mean, this was what's his name? Is it Jon Lord? Completely forgotten. Jon Lord, yeah. It's kind of his stuff. He wrote it and then he recorded it with the band obviously recorded it. It's quite a nice sounding record. It's not an amazing record, but it's decent enough. And I think it served its purpose, and it gave Deep Purple a bit more attention at the time when they were kind of floundering a bit. But they didn't really sort themselves out until, I think, after this was released and they hit the heavy rock stuff. But yeah, it's a nice record, and it's a decent copy of it. And what's amazing is it's actually a first pressing. It's not in the greatest shape cover-wise, but to have a first pressing of that's quite nice, isn't it? Right, there we go. A real mixed bunch of records. I don't regret leaving anything behind. I mean, there were things like, what did I leave behind? Really beat up copies of Fugazi by Marillion, and beat up copy of Pink Floyd's, which one was it? One of their 90s albums, but it was really, really beat. But anyway, I picked up enough stuff. I was happy with what I got. And I got a cup of tea and a nice chat as well. So there we go. My latest Wodge. I'm so behind with my things. I've got tapes to show. I've got massive patch of CDs. This shelf here is all my vinyl that I haven't shown. I'm well behind. Been on a bit of a buying spree lately. So you can expect more videos from me in the immediate future. So for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for new subscribers. The numbers have bolstered up a bit recently, so thank you ever so much to anybody who subscribes. If you ever want to unsubscribe, don't worry, I'm not bothered. I love it when people subscribe, and just love it when people watch and comment. So please leave a comment if you've seen something interesting, or you've seen something that I've got wrong, or anything really. So thanks very much, and I'll see you all again soon. Cheers, VC. Bye.